All right, get ready. Because we are diving deep into a story today that has pretty much everything you could ask for.
Oh, yeah.
Massive armies,
Okay.
underdog victories,
Love it.
and some pretty surprising strategies. We were talking about Judges 7.
Okay.
This is the epic battle where just a tiny little Israelite force takes on this army that's so big.
Huge.
It's so big, it makes rush hour traffic look like, a quiet country road.
Wow, that is a great analogy. I like that. Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, this is one of those stories that really captures your imagination.
Oh, for sure.
Just picture this. Okay, you've got the Israelites, and they're under the rule of the Midianites.
Right?
These are powerful, nomadic people, and they've been raiding their land.
Yeah, just making life miserable.
Basically making life miserable, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Midianites, they have an army so vast that the Bible actually describes their camels as countless,
Really?
as the sand on the seashore.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of camels.
That's a lot of camels. I mean, talk about feeling outnumbered, right?
Oh, yeah, big time.
So enter Gideon. He is our reluctant hero.
Yes.
God chose him to lead the Israelites.
He did.
But even with an army of 32,000 men,
I mean, that's a lot of people.
you would think that's enough.
Right.
But the odds just seem totally impossible.
Yeah, they do seem that way. And that's actually where things start to get a little interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because God actually tells Gideon that his army is too big.
What?
Right.
Too big? How can you have too many soldiers when you're facing that many camels?
Well, God wants to make it clear that this victory isn't going to be about, human strength
Right.
or military might. He wants to show that it's his power
Right.
that will win the day. It's not up to them.
Wow.
So God instructs Gideon to send anybody who's afraid back home.
Oh, okay. So weed out the scaredy cats.
Yeah, pretty much. And understandably, a lot of people head for the hills.
You would. You would.
I'd be right there with them.
So that leaves Gideon with 10,000 men.
Okay.
Still a decent-sized army, but...
Still a lot of people. Yeah, but God decides he wants to whittle it down even further.
So what does he do? Like, how do you choose who stays and who goes at that point?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
He sets up a water test.
Oh, yeah.
He brings all 10,000 men down to a stream to drink.
Okay.
Now, you would think this would be a pretty straightforward way to just, quench your thirst.
Yeah.
But God's looking for something specific in how these guys drink.
Really? How they drink? What do you mean?
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
The men who lap up the water with their hands, staying alert and aware of their surroundings,
Okay.
those are the ones that are chosen.
Okay, so they're not just like kneeling down chucking water.
Exactly. Those who kneel down to drink, maybe less focused on potential danger, they get sent home.
Oh, wow.
And just like that, Gideon's army is reduced to a mere 300 men?
300 men
300 men.
against an army of how many?
Remember countless, like the sand on the seashore?
Are you kidding me?
I mean, that is like the ancient equivalent of a human tsunami, right?
Oh my gosh.
You have to wonder what was going through Gideon's mind at this point.
I would be freaking out.
Would you have trusted this plan?
Absolutely not.
It seems like a recipe for disaster, right?
For sure.
Well, on the surface, yes.
Okay.
But if we kind of dig a little deeper,
Yeah.
we see that God's not just looking for, warriors.
Right.
He's looking for those with specific qualities.
Yeah.
Alertness, adaptability, focus.
Yeah.
Those who drank from the stream like a dog, constantly scanning for threats.
Right.
They demonstrated a mindset that would prove to be really crucial in this upcoming battle.
So it's almost like God is giving us a little sneak peek into like what kind of thinking leads to victory.
Yeah.
It's not just about brute force.
Exactly.
It's about being aware and adaptable and just ready for whatever comes at you.
Yeah, being ready to respond to anything.
Wow.
And this whole selection process, I think it reinforces a theme that we see throughout history. Really smaller, more agile, and highly focused forces.
Yeah.
They often outmaneuver the larger, less adaptable ones.
So it's not about size.
No, not at all. I mean, think about David and Goliath.
Oh, yeah.
Another classic underdog story.
Go away.
Where strategy and quick thinking
Right.
triumph over sheer size and strength.
Yeah, so we've got our 300 warriors.
We do.
What do? How are they going to take on this seemingly invincible Midianite army?
Well, buckle up, because the strategy that God gives Gideon is about to get pretty wild. All right. So we're back, and if you remember, we were just talking about Gideon's 300 men.
Oh, yeah.
They surrounded that Midianite camp at night.
Right.
Each man armed with a trumpet, an empty pitcher, and a torch hidden inside the pitcher.
Crazy.
So just try to imagine the scene for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Thousands of Midianite soldiers sound asleep,
Totally unaware.
completely unaware of this small but like super determined force just closing in on them.
It must have been so tense.
Oh yeah, can you imagine?
Just waiting for that signal to attack.
Right.
Knowing that everything, like
Yep.
the fate of their entire people rested on this like crazy plan working. And then the signal comes.
Yep.
Hundreds of pitchers, shattering trumpets blaring, and torches blazing in the darkness.
What a sight that must have been.
Oh, it's like terrifying and confusing all at the same time.
Talk about sensory overload,
Oh,
right?
gosh, yeah.
I mean, the Midianites, they're startled awake in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And they're thrown into complete chaos.
Because they have no idea what's going on.
No idea. They can't see clearly. They
Right.
don't know how many attackers there are.
Right.
It's just this sudden, overwhelming sensory assault.
Right.
And it just sends them into a total panic.
You can't blame them.
You can't blame them at all. And here's where the brilliance of Gideon's strategy really shines through.
Okay, how so?
In all the panic and the confusion, the Midianites start attacking each other.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
They mistake their own comrades for the enemy.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And what was once this massive, imposing army
Right.
quickly becomes a disorganized mob.
Wow.
I mean, it's a classic example of psychological warfare, right? Oh, yeah, for sure.
Using surprise and disruption and just the manipulation of perception
Yeah.
to completely demoralize and disorient the enemy.
So smart.
And the Israelites, they were outnumbered, but they were incredibly disciplined.
Right.
And they exploit that chaos.
Totally.
They pursue and defeat the fleeing Midianites.
It's like an astonishing victory. I mean, just thinking about it.
It really is.
It's a testament to the power of strategy and courage and faith.
Yes.
But I think what makes this story so compelling is that it's not just about winning a battle.
Right.
It's about the deeper messages and lessons that we can apply to our own lives.
Absolutely. And even thousands of years later.
Oh, yeah.
Judges 7 encourages us to look beyond just surface appearances, you know, and to consider the qualities that truly contribute to success.
I was like that.
Remember the water test.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't about finding, the strongest or
Right.
the most experienced soldiers.
Yeah.
It was about identifying those with alertness, adaptability,
Yeah.
and the ability to stay focused under pressure. Yeah, it's those underlying things you can't necessarily see, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So how do we actually apply this Judges 7 thinking
That's a good question.
to our modern lives?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like?
Well, I think it starts with thinking about the challenges that you face.
Okay.
Whether it's a career obstacle, a personal dilemma, even just the everyday stresses of life.
Yeah.
Are you always relying on brute force solutions?
Oh, interesting.
Or could a more creative, strategic approach
Yeah.
maybe lead to a better outcome?
I love that.
Okay.
We've been talking about Gideon and, his incredible victory against the Midianites.
Right.
And I think it's amazing how this ancient story can offer some, really surprising insights for us today.
Yeah.
What really stood out to me is how the situation that just seemed impossible
Right.
was totally turned around
Yeah,
by
yeah.
a combo of, faith strategy and a willingness to just do things differently.
I think that's a great point. It's a powerful reminder that, we don't always have to rely on brute force or conventional wisdom to overcome the challenges that we face.
Right. And sometimes it's the most effective approach is the one that seems the most unconventional.
Exactly.
The most unexpected. Like, who would thought that a bunch of broken pitchers
Right.
and some loud trumpets
Right.
could send this massive army running scared?
But it worked.
It did.
And it worked because Gideon was willing to think outside the box,
Yeah.
trust in something beyond himself,
Right.
and empower his small but very dedicated team
Yes.
to play their part.
And that's a really important point, too. It wasn't just about Gideon. It
No,
was
it's-
about, that collective effort
Absolutely.
with those 300 men all working together.
Each playing a crucial role
Right. Playing a crucial role in making it happen.
in the success of the plan.
And that's what's so cool about it. It highlights the power of teamwork,
It does.
especially when everybody is on the same page.
Yes, when everyone is aligned around a common goal.
Totally. And they trust in the strategy.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Judges 7, let's think about you.
Okay.
Where in your own life could you benefit from little Judges 7 thinking?
Yeah, that's a great question.
What obstacle that seems like you can't possibly overcome
Right.
could be tackled with a little creativity,
Uh-huh.
a little strategic planning, and maybe even a little bit of faith.
It could be a project at work that just feels overwhelming,
Yeah.
a relationship that needs a fresh
Oh,
perspective,
for sure.
or a goal that you have personally that just seems totally out of reach.
Yeah, those are all good examples. And
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
just remember what we learned from Gideon and those 300 warriors.
Yes.
Seek guidance.
Right?
Trust in something larger than yourself.
Uh-huh.
And be willing to embrace the power of thinking differently
Yes.
and working together.
I love that.
Sometimes the greatest victories come from recognizing that we don't have to do it alone.
Very well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you found it inspiring and insightful. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.